Welcome to the Kim McVicker podcast. Today, my guest is
Grace Santos. I'm a producer and actor.
sweet. Grace, how did you get into producing? Also, Grace and I have been friends forever. For anybody listening, so like,
Yes. So I'm kind of biased because I adore Kimmy.
she
Um,
has to say that I paid her. I paid her a lot of money to say that.
it's true. I started as an actor years and years ago, and we met in an acting class in
Mm-hmm.
Florida, of all places. And I remember walking in, and she was talking about socks on stage so naturally. Do you remember that?
No, I'm
Oh,
so scared about what this is going to be. Yeah, okay.
it was like so natural about these socks, and I was like, who is that? So cool. And then I find out she's from Canada, and she's was a dancer, and
Was this scripted or was I just talking about socks? Because I do love socks.
I don't know if it was scripted or not because
It was probably not.
you were
Because
in
like
front of
who?
everybody.
But also who writes? Oh gosh, I love socks. Okay, cool. I do like socks. They're important. They're cozy. They make my day. And then you're now a producer, right?
Yeah.
How
um
hard is this? How hard is it? Okay, so let's just say I'm a random person in a city that has film and television, and I'm like, I want to produce a film. Can you just do it?
I think so. I mean, some people try to make it seem harder than it is. I mean, I
Hmm.
started producing plays first in Florida.
Okay.
So when you start producing plays, you have to get together with the team, the marketing, the location. So it's like, smaller, so one venue, but it's still a longer process because all the rehearsals. And you too, Kimmy was producing improv shows
Hmm.
in Florida. And then
And
we
so a
started doing
producer
short
is the
films.
person who puts it together, in case people don't know, right?
Oh,
So
yes.
if you're seeing a film or something, somebody did all the things. Somebody was in charge of making sure there was a location, that they had actors, that contracts were signed, that there was a script, all of the things. So that's what a producer does. But there's more than one kind of producer, right? Like there's the money person.
Yeah. So some producers, they do everything. That's why when you see the Oscars, whoever gets the Best Picture award, it actually goes to the producers, not to the director.
Mhm.
And so some producers, they are the ones that find the script, find the DP, I mean the director, find everything. And there's other times, some producers are like producer for hire,
Mhm.
and what other producers or directors will do is they'll ask a producer, hey, can you be on the ground, be the line producer, or hey, can you help me find distribution? Can you help me find
What's a
money?
line producer?
The line producer, they're like the on the ground, they handle putting together the budget because they've been around a lot of the crew and locations. So they have a lot of those type of connections,
Mhm.
and you go to them and you say, hey,
So
I
they're working the
can.
front lines, kind of like if you think about the military. If I got that, I'm not American.
Oh yeah, it could be
Is
like
that
that
what that?
too, but it's also like the lines of the budget. But that
Oh,
makes
okay,
sense what you're saying.
okay. She's looking around
Okay,
to
I can
everybody.
see you now. Yeah.
So I don't know. So I live in LA, and yet last night our power went out, like the whole neighborhood. Did yours go out?
No,
Oh, okay. So I'm wondering if that's why this is what it is.
I'm in West Hollywood, so I don't
Don't
know.
tell people. Don't tell
Oh
people.
my god,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
sorry.
Okay, so there's the line producer for two different reasons. And then what kind of producer are you?
um, I I do a little bit of everything. My passion, of course, is like being the one that finds the amazing scripts and puts everything together.
Mhm.
But a lot of the times, I just get hired on for specific duties, and I need to pay my rent, so I'll pretty much say yes to a lot of things.
Hey guys, you heard it here. If you need a producer, Grace is out there to hire.
Yeah.
If you're a first time producer and you need someone who knows how to produce, Grace is your gal.
I did. I volunteer a lot for AFI, the American Film Institute, to
Hmm.
help new producers as well. So
That's pretty cool. Is there like a type of script you prefer to produce?
comedies. That's I think that's why I was drawn to you. And teen comedies and rom coms, and also it can be dramas and other genres as well. I'd like to find something that has some type of social commentary that people can talk about. So it's still entertaining, but then there's some kind of underlying discussion.
So you're still very like to me that last one is more indie. Like it may not be a blockbuster, but it's more of like a film festival type thing. The art, you're still in it for the art.
Right.
Uh, but so with the kids one, like the teen comedies and stuff like that, is that the most? If you're a new producer and you're like, I want to make a name for myself, my personal thought process with anything entertainment business is like obviously do what you like, but also look at all of the other things that have succeeded in what you want to do and follow the path because there is usually a path. You may not like it, but if you follow it, you'll get somewhere where you can at least support yourself doing what you like. So if that's the case, I would say, with producing, pick a film that'll make money back because if you just do your first one is like this ooey gooey thing, you may not, like your odds of making any money back are going to be a lot less. What is like the best lucrative one to make? Like, is there? I always thought it was horror, but I could be wrong.
I've seen
Or
different
sci-fi?
things.
Is it sci-fi?
Well, the thing about horror is that usually you can produce horror for less and not
Mm.
have a name. Most other genres, you need at least one or two recognizable stars in it.
Is that
It-
changing recognizable star because of TikTok and Instagram? Like, are those considered recognizable stars now?
Um, that's okay. So some of
She's like,
this is the
oh,
thing. I have a
how do
lot
we
to
get
say
into
about this.
this? Because it's like distribution wise, if someone has millions of followers,
Right. Okay. So
but they may not be an
I
actor.
I have a couple projects where I have influencers in, and especially the teen comedy, and they have millions of followers. But I brought it to some distribution companies, and some of the you know green light people are over 50 years old and they still don't understand it. So they're like, we don't know who these people are. I was like, yeah, but the teens do. Like trying to get them to understand it is a little bit.
Have you produced anything and just thrown it on YouTube?
Yeah, with you.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Crap. I totally
we
forgot
did
we did that.
Free
But
Does
I meant like
Comedy.
now cuz I feel like okay, so when we did that, that was like fun, but it wasn't like you couldn't really make money off of YouTube like you can now. You can make money in YouTube now. Like a lot of comics post their stuff on YouTube over Amazon cuz they'll actually make more money on YouTube. It just depends on what you want to do. Uh do you feel like movies are that way too now or no? Cuz a lot of people just watch YouTube.
So there is money in YouTube as well. Okay, so like let's say you make a movie, and you can't get distribution. There's possible ways to direct distribute. So like if you put it up on Amazon versus YouTube, uh, they say about for every one purchase on Amazon for like 9.99, you need at least 1,000 views on YouTube
But
for
it's
it to
free
equal.
and YouTube, so it's a matter of how cheap is your audience.
Right, because yeah, some because some audiences they will never pay for anything, and then some
Especially if they don't know you. It makes sense
right,
for stand up because it's one person. For a movie, I could see you wanting to do Amazon because there's a whole cast and a crew that are supposed to want to promote it. So I get that.
yeah,
That makes sense. And then I bet you could buy Amazon ads if you really wanted to push it.
right. Hmm.
Do you do that stuff too? Like the posts, like getting funding for? Because I feel like movies, what is it? The same budget is used in advertising. Is that true? Something like that?
So a lot of the times, in the past, we used to only try to find investors just for production, post production. But now we actually ask for marketing investors as well.
Mhm.
Even if we know that there's going to be a distribution company, because it seems like not all distribution companies put enough in marketing.
Mhm.
I think that there's a backlash because before distribution companies used to go crazy with marketing, like Super Bowl ads and things like that, and a lot of them went under for doing that. I think you just have to do it wisely, instead of going to the opposite end of like not even putting any money in marketing.
Well, it's like
Um,
people with Instagram ads, they do the um oh, let everybody see this. And it's like, at least for a stand-up comic, to me that makes no sense. Let the people in the city that you're in that you're trying to sell tickets for see it so that they come and you make your money. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't
yeah.
just like put it
Oh,
in your
when
money
you
towards your demographic.
when you do the stand up,
Mhm.
do the people, the locations that you go to, do they tell you ahead of time, like, hey, ticket sales in this city is not doing as well, or ticket sales in this city, so then you know
So
how
not
to
taping
market?
just a road. Like if
Yeah,
I'm,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you're on the road, usually depending on the club, some clubs have like a chain. So if it's a chain, your manager will get like a weekly, like where you're at. Some clubs, like the Hollywood Improv, for example, that's down the street, I get auto emailed every day until the show how tickets are doing,
see, that's
which is
great.
helpful because then oh crap, I got to do this, or it's sold out and you're like sitting pretty, whatever. It makes your life easier. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've worked with some theatrical bookers, and it's like you don't know, like, okay, which cities should I target? Like, which cities aren't doing as well? And then some, lately they've actually told us, weekly or
Well,
you know,
everyone has analytics now. Like even your
yeah,
Instagram or your Facebook personally. Like if you make an ad for whatever your movie is or like a sizzle reel or something like that, it'll break down the algorithm of what ages want to see it. Like there's I don't know, everything's algorithm now, so you can like I guess pay attention to
I know we need
that.
that.
My algorithm is 65 and over. No, it's not. But I do love my old ladies. I do. Come see me. You're my favorite. It's always fun with stand up when other comics are like, "Oh, you can't say a bad word. There's a lot of old people in the audience." I'm like, "You don't think they've heard and seen everything? These are the people you can say whatever you want to. They don't care anymore." Like that's why I love them. Ugh, I can't wait to get old. I really can't. I'm excited for it. Are you nervous about getting older as a lady in Hollywood?
It just depends upon who I'm working with, because there is
That's so
ages.
funny. You're like, so it depends on who I'm hanging with. On Mondays, I'm okay. On Tuesdays, yikes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel
Yeah,
that.
because some people, there's ageism. Like, I went to this one pitch meeting, and some of the execs, when the writers were coming in, they were like, "Oh, those writers are too old." I was like, "They're writers." They're, I
Yeah.
thought that ageism was just against actors, which is horrible as well. But I was thinking, why are they having ageism against writers? It's so crazy. But then other companies, they want, the experience, the life experience. So I think it just depends upon how you find your core group.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I also feel like the old is a different number than it used to be because it used to be like 35 and you were out. And now it's like, I think old is like 65 or like looking 55 and over
Right.
for an actor. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of 40 and 50-year-old actors that are crushing it right now,
Mhm.
which is great. Totally for it. Do you have a favorite actor?
Favorite actor? I don't know. I like a lot of different actors. So many. I like
Okay.
Kate Blanchett. I like Tina
When you go
Fey.
to pitch an actor for one of your films, how do you like, assuming you haven't met them yet and you're meeting them, do you usually call first or how does it work? You call your manager?
We definitely called the manager first. If
Okay.
if we don't know them, we don't have any ins with them. We'll call the manager first, and they'll ask us to send it over. And then it's a lot of following up, like, "Hey, have you read it yet?" Things like that. When I contact a manager with a larger company that actually has financing, they tend to look at it faster than
Okay.
when you're just going and saying, "I
That's good
believe
to
in
know
this."
though if you're an actor, like what kind of agency or manager you want to have. You want to have somebody who has, it sounds like, the gamut. The ones
Right.
who can put a package together.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. That's cool. Do you wish so because you act too? Do you wish you knew all the stuff you know as a producer back when you were an actor in your early 20s?
Yes, I do, and I wish I moved. I know. Part of me wishes that I moved to LA sooner.
Okay.
I stayed in
Do you
Florida
think you still
longer.
need that nowadays though?
Well, because a lot of the decision making is still in LA. Because I know, like, we film a lot in Atlanta and other countries, but so many of the writers and executives for the big companies, distribution companies, either live here or New York. Um,
So you would say if you want to be an actor, get your butt out to one of the big coasts.
I think so.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. Unless you're like killing it in Atlanta where you're constantly booking huge, you know, Marvel or something, something recognizable, then okay, you stay there and then when your Atlanta agent contacts somebody in LA, it
Because we have friends who are actors in Florida and Atlanta, and they do
Mhm.
like both. And I feel like Florida rent is almost equal to LA now. That I feel like those people should move to LA now.
I
But I
know.
also get it that
I
they
was
have,
surprised. I was like, because I was like, why is the rent in Tampa this much now? This is crazy.
yeah,
Yeah,
that it makes sense. Like, didn't move now. But if you feel like you have a comfortable life, you have kids or whatever, I get it. But also, come hang out with me.
yeah.
Yeah. I feel
I
that.
know we've actually lasted a long time here. A lot of our friends that we moved out here with left already.
Yeah, that does happen. So if you move out here with a bunch of people, not everyone's going to stay. It just depends on willpower slash, I don't know. Different people leave for different reasons. Not everyone likes LA. I actually genuinely like
I
LA.
know. I
Do
love the
you?
hiking. I love the events. I love it so much about it.
Yeah, I love being able to walk to a grocery store and not like it is a driving city. You definitely need a car and a driver's license, but um I mean, I haven't taken public transportation, have you?
No, but I
I
walk
have
it.
friends who
Yeah,
do.
I either walk everywhere or if I have to go to a meeting, far away, I'll drive. But
Yeah. Yeah. I'm afraid of the subway system in LA.
I know. I've never done that at all.
I've never either, and I will do it in New York, but I don't want to do it in LA because LA has earthquakes,
I
and not
know.
they're not all the time. But I don't want to be underground when they happen. That doesn't seem
Exactly.
like a good time.
I agree with you.
It's kind of the last
100%.
place I want to be is underneath. Well, someone's trying to dance for me or whatever they do on the subway. I don't know, not my jam. Okay, if you could produce any movie that has already been produced, like already been produced, what movie do you wish you could have produced?
That has already been produced.
Yeah.
Um, I like, it's either Truman Show or Gattaca.
Wait, Truman Show with Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
No. Okay, yeah, okay. Really? Okay.
Okay, because so one of my undergraduate degrees is religious studies.
Okay.
So I like how some movies you you discuss life in general and why are we here? What's our purpose? Like I don't know. So I feel like there was a lot of
Why do
that
you think
going
we're here? Do you have a thought on that that you're willing to share?
on. I think we're here to love each other.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair. I don't know why. And I think it's all silly. And I think you should have a good time.
Well, no, I think you should have a good
Oh,
time
I'm
too.
not saying you're wrong. I was just trying to think, like, what? I've never really thought about it. Why do I think I'm here? Is not something that has ever been. That's too deep. And I don't smoke weed. So I'm not ready for that.
I don't
I
smoke
would have
weed
to
either.
start smoking for that question for myself.
I know.
Whoa, I don't know, man, bro. It's crazy. Yeah. Okay, back to it. So you like Truman Show? You would have produced.
Yeah, or Gattaca.
What's Gattaca? I don't think I saw it.
That's the one with Ethan Hawke, and it's about the genome project. So a lot of parents will manipulate their kids' genetics to try to make them more perfect.
Do you
And
think people are doing that now, right? For sure.
yeah, and this came out like years and years ago. So it was just about nature versus nurture. And Ethan didn't have his genetics changed at all, but his brother did. So there was a lot of feud between the two brothers. And then he had to try to make it in as an astronaut. But so many people were, if they
Why they add
knew
the
that,
astronaut thing in there? That's so silly.
I know.
Everything you're describing to me, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Small town, two dudes. Like, I love it. And they're like, astronaut? What?
No, because it's about like people trying to do their goals, but then there's all of a sudden now prejudice in society because they're like, oh, you're not good enough because your genes weren't, manipulated. You just have to watch it. Just
I
watch
will.
it.
I
You'll
will.
see.
I will. I will. That's fun.
Yeah. How
Did you
about
ever?
you? What are your favorite? What's
What's my favorite movies?
Yeah.
Oh, anything Sandra Bullock.
Oh,
I love her.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
Speed was my favorite back in the day. I don't like that she keeps messing with her face. I think it's almost better now, but she got it. Like when she did the one that was in outer space, it was too much, and I couldn't see her. Like I also am not a fan of actors getting too much work done. I get it; people want to do it, and maybe I'll do it in my lifetime. But I feel like as an actor, you're supposed to make
Yeah,
expressions, and if you can't, it seems silly. But
I
it
agree.
goes back to your ageism thing of these are people who just want to work.
Yeah,
So
it's hard.
it
It's
is.
hard.
It's a hard like I don't know. I always want to get new teeth, and then I go back and forth about it. My teeth are fine.
I know what's wrong with your teeth. Your teeth
I
are fine.
just I've my whole life I wanted fake ones. These are my real ones, everybody. Boo. Yeah. Now I feel like whatever. Yeah, it is an interesting. I don't think it's as body image as I thought it was in my 20s LA though. Like when I first moved here, I thought it was like you had to be skinny, you had to be this, you had to, and I think that that's just a projection that we put on LA. I think it's really about who you surround yourself with. Like we have a core group of friends who don't get to hang out all the time, but when we do, it's like back to like we never missed a day in our in like whatever. And it's just like really comfortable and cool, which I like. And I think that if you surround yourself with people like that, you don't need all the other stuff. I
Yeah.
think it's people who have to like elevate themselves and lie to themselves who do all that
No,
stuff.
no, I totally agree. It's
And I think
really
that's
about
age that made me feel that way now. But in my 20s, I would be like, yeah.
no, yeah, I agree because it's totally about who you surround yourself with. Because even like in the producing side, I remember I was pitching something, and some people in the company I was working for would get their projects greenlit, but I didn't get mine. And I was like, I've been here longer. I have, you know, my undergraduate degree. I went to law school. I went to the UCLA producers program. I have this, and this. And this one guy there, he's like, Grace, you need to go to a company that cares about that because some companies they all want people that all graduated from Harvard. Other people, some of the execs never even graduated high school and they're making it, and they don't care about degrees. Like you just have to find your people, like
Hmm.
who cares about what you're doing. So
Yeah, it's likability. It matters in everything. Any job you have. If people don't like you, they don't want to work with you. It
yeah,
doesn't matter where you work.
right, yeah,
It doesn't matter. Don't be the asshole.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a. There was a meme. This is not my joke. There was a meme that I think is hilarious, where it's like this one guy going, "What do you do if someone calls you an asshole?" Such a dad joke. And then the guy goes, "I'm not an asshole. I'm a hemorrhoid. I irritate assholes." That is the funniest thing I've ever heard in
I've
my
never
life.
heard that. That's so funny.
I cannot wait for someone to call me an asshole. Like I'm waiting. I'm gonna be like, "Nah, I'm a hemorrhoid. I'm stealing that." It's so funny to me. That's I don't know. That's my dream. If you could do anything other than the entertainment business, what would you want to do?
Other than the entertainment business,
Yeah, lawyer. I guess you did that though.
I know. Yeah, I did that for a year, and I was like, "What is this?"
I
I
have to.
only
I mean, because people are listening, they're also seeing, but most people listen. You have a voice of like a child, and I have a voice of an old man, so it's perfect. But like your voice is very high pitched and like giggly. I would have died to be in a courtroom while you were doing closing statements. Like I would
no.
have.
There are judges that they did. They would ask me, "Oh, where's your attorney?" I was like, "I am the attorney." But
Can you
anyway,
imagine being on death row out there and that's the voice that comes in to say, I mean, I would love it because you at least bring me joy. And like, it would be like, yeah, let's go.
no.
But you
And
didn't
I
do
took
that kind of
voice
law. What kind of
lessons.
law did you do?
I tried to take voice lessons to lower my voice, but I was like, "Forget it. This is not working."
No, it's who you are.
I know.
That's crazy. I'd be like me trying to work it like this the dark. I would die. Uh, but what kind of lawyer were you? Or are you still a lawyer? How does that work? Once a lawyer, always a lawyer?
I mean, I'm still licensed. I don't work for a law firm. I When I first graduated high school, when I first graduated law school, I worked for a real estate and finance and investment company.
Mhm.
Um, but then, which I'm glad I had that experience because a lot of investments for real estate apply to investments for film. So I
Mhm.
used a lot of what I learned there. And so I still use law. Like I have to negotiate with actors' agents or directors'
And you're probably
agents.
one of the few people that actually read a contract.
Oh yeah,
You know,
totally.
most people don't read them and they're like, what do you mean I can't talk about this now?
Right. We have to read them because you have to remember distribution later down the road. If you have something in an actor agreement or director or writer agreement that distribution companies aren't going to agree to, then you just wasted all of this time and you have to go back and renegotiate and then
What's a thing like that that would pop up? Like if someone was a new producer, like what's a
okay, so um some some actors try to negotiate final cut, you know, and even some directors try to negotiate final cut. And distribution companies are the ones that want final cut because if something they're supposedly
because
understand
if
the
something
audience.
crazy happens in the world too and they want to pull something.
Right. And like if they need to edit something out, anything like that, so you can't give everything. Even if you want this huge actor, you can't give everything
Fair.
for what they ask for. Otherwise, you'll just never be able to sell it later.
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. What's the craziest like request you've ever got from an actor?
The
A
craziest.
no-name actor.
Oh, a
Like not a
no-name
yeah,
actor?
not a famous person.
Oh,
Like somebody
oh,
who's like you don't know who I'm about to be, bitch.
I
Like
know.
that.
There were, yeah, this one no-name actor asked for a lot of things. I mean, it was a lower budget movie. So I think it was the modified low budget. So it was only $700,000 movie.
Mhm.
And they were
Isn't that crazy
asking,
that that's no money though? I wish I
I know,
had 700,000
I
dollars.
know. But yeah, they were asking for their own personal trailer rather than just having, 'cause, of course we respect actors, you have to change and everything, you have your own
Space.
like
Yeah.
room, but they were just asking for that and for approvals on everything, like approvals on the poster, approvals on their photos. I mean, and we're just like, we can't go back and forth with someone who's in this for like a week, like it was nuts.
So
So
did you end up hiring that person or no?
no, we just said no, 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 and then they said okay,
Oh,
and
okay.
they
They were
they
like,
still did it, but
well, good for them
it
for
was just
asking.
why did we have to go back and forth like that?
Yeah. I mean, good for them on asking. Not everyone asks. She's like, where'd you
Broke up
go?
for a second. What did you say?
I said, good for them for asking.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because a lot of actors are afraid to ask for things because they're afraid they'll get cut. But this person didn't get cut. It was the lesson in like ask and then be prepared for no.
One of our friends, who's an actor, told me that they asked for some things and they got cut. I would never do that. Like
Oh,
to me, I'm fine
but
with,
it does happen. That's good to know.
yeah. But I don't, you know,
But it also depends on what you ask for. If it's like one thing, great. If it's 8 things, maybe think about it.
right?
And
Because
what are you
I guess you don't
actually
want to work
bringing
with
to the
someone.
table?
Sorry.
What are you actually bringing to the table?
Yeah,
Like a lot of people lie to themselves about what they're bringing to the table.
yeah. And I felt bad for this one actor who told me that all they asked for,
Oh
I think
no.
it was just a name, like a credit name, rather than restaurant owner. Just said, "Can I have?"
Oh, they want a character name.
Yeah, and I
Oh,
think
well, then if they didn't hire you for that, walk away. It's not even a big enough thing for you to do,
right.
right? Like, who
Yeah,
cares? And
I
also,
know.
I think that that's a thing that actors also get stupid on, though. Like, okay, so let's say you're in a movie or a TV show or whatever, and you are waitress number one, okay? But it's like the most memorable waitress number one anybody's ever seen. No one is going to give a flip if you had a name or not.
Right.
Uh, it's a matter of if your character has any meat and if you played it well. So that's on like you probably just said it's $10 or whatever, and then it's just a one liner, and that's okay too. But it's not. Yeah, that's a weird one. I'm just judging people. What would you like as a producer your next like 10 years to be?
I want to produce television series so badly, and I love the character development in it. And I know that you and I produced this series, and it was just on YouTube, but I loved it so much because we could see where our characters were going. And I've worked many years for film finance companies, and I'm trying to persuade them to finance series. So I have a lot of awesome series in development. So
That's cool. I love that. have you ever thought of doing like mini series as a way in, or no? Is that a way in? I don't even know if it's a way in.
No, it is. I do have some that are limited series, just like 8 episodes. I actually went to the National Association of Television Programmer Executives Conference this past January in Miami. 2 of my series were in the top 5, so I had to present it in front of everyone. I know, no, there's a reason I'm saying this.
No, that's good. Congrats. That's a
No.
positive. I'm happy for you.
But it's funny because one of one of the finalists, it was my 8 episode limited series, and the other one was the ongoing series. So I thought, you know, um, going there with a limited series might greenlight it faster. And then they said, "Oh, limited series are so difficult." And I was like, "Why?" Because when I've pitched longer series, um, some people just, they were like, "Oh, that's too big for us." And then also, I've tried to apply film finance um, to TV series. And when it's a TV series, it's kind of hard because you don't have the pie. Like in a film, this is how much it's going to cost. So we can apply that to a limited series, like, hey, this is how much this 8 episodes or 6 episodes are going to cost. And then you can split it up, that way. But I don't know why all the executives over there were telling me, oh, limited series are difficult. But I see limited series all the time. So
Yeah.
anyway,
It's
people always say no, but there's always a way around a no.
yeah, exactly. A no is just not right now, or not from
Right,
them.
exactly.
Is
Exactly.
there like, if you could be an actor in anything, like what kind of character would you want to play?
I like playing, the really fun and nice and supportive best friend, or a cool supportive, aunt or mom that's, you know, that's really there to help the main character along their journey.
So you just want to be supportive.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
I
I
know.
love it. I love it. I love it. Do you have any advice for anybody who's like coming to LA? Like, what would you say?
1, make sure you get a side hustle that can actually pay for everything, but doesn't take much of your time, because is and networking and auditions and creating your own material, but you still need to survive. So I think some people left so early too is they didn't have a side job in the beginning to help them along while they're here. Because
Yeah,
you
money
were
is
a
good.
dance teacher, right?
Yeah, I had a lot of side jobs.
Yeah.
Uh,
And that's why, and then I had my side jobs too. So I feel like that's important. And then
yeah,
definitely,
working. Oh, go ahead. Keep going.
no, no, no. And then definitely create your own things as well, because I think the industry has just changed a lot since the pandemic and all the strikes. Things are just slow right now. Um, Even on the producing side, because sometimes when we um, pitch projects, some of our financiers, we need certain pre-sales or a negative pickup deal from the studio, and they're just not doing as many of those right now.
What's a negative pickup deal?
So what we do is we package a project, get an actor attached, and then we present it to a studio or a big streaming service, and we say, "Well, if you like this, we'll take the risk of financing and producing, and we'll deliver it to you by this date." And then by this date, as long as we deliver it to you, you'll pay us back. So at least the financiers know there's already contract in place, and that they'll get paid back, rather than someone just putting the risk of just producing and hoping that a distribution company will pay for it.
Fair, fair. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
But now distributors and streamers are saying, "Oh, we wanna watch it first, see how it is." So then that's why it's like
So now
it's
you have
been
to make it and lose all your money.
yeah, I know.
Okay,
If they don't
that's
like
cool.
it, yeah.
You could do it. Anyone could do it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool. That's very cool. Well, thank you for all of your knowledge and all of your help.
I hope I can work with you again,
Oh,
Kimberly.
anytime, anytime. That's fine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We
'Cause
can.
you're such a funny writer, you and
I haven't.
David, so
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I haven't. There's like, yeah, there's a few scripts that I'm thinking. I'm thinking about getting into writing again. I really like stand up. So I'm trying to, yeah, figure out
Well,
what
I
I
mean,
want.
you're so natural at stand-up. Everybody, I went to Kimmy's first stand-up
Oh, she did.
ever.
Oh my gosh. I tell this story to so many people about how you went to the first stand up and you brought like the head of a network and it was
Yes,
a
and
nightmare. And
I
I
know,
never say your name because I don't, but now it's her. She
I
she
know.
she brought a head of a network to my first open mic ever. And I learned a lot. I learned as a comic, okay, first open mics you usually do about 3 minutes and I did a monologue. I thought like there was no setups or punchlines. I was learning. I had no idea what I was doing. But there were also comics who had been doing stand up for like 10 years there who sucked. And one of them touched somebody's head who was bald. And I never forgot that because it was like,
Yes,
oh, that guy is not going to let you work. Like,
I know.
you never know
Yeah,
who's in the audience in LA or New York. We'll start with that. You never know who's in the audience.
I know, and it was funny because, okay, number 1, I'm a huge fan of Kimmy. Number 2, I'm not kidding, she was the best one up there, and she was it was her first time, and she was just so natural, and then this other guy, yeah, got so angry at the
He
audience, he
did. He
started
got
cursing at
so
us.
mad.
I know, it was so weird.
It was fun.
Anyway, so I know you're busy doing stand-up because you're good at it, and I love you doing it, but can you please write again too, so we can do something else?
You got it. You got it.
Okay.
Thank you for coming on a podcast and giving me tasks. Much appreciated. I can't wait to work more. No, I'm kidding. I love it. I do love it. We should do like a lunch. Let's so LA, let's get lunch and figure it out. Anyways, thank you again for joining us and we'll be back next week, everybody.
Yay,
Oh,
bye.
and you can follow Grace where? I totally bombed this.
Oh, Grace Santos, I am, like Yoda, Grace Santos, I am.
Oh, wow. Okay, an impression. Cool, cool. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I love a good impression.